Hi, so in this video I'm going to show you how to make this thank you card in Cricut Design Space. It's not for a beginner, but it's fairly simple if you follow the process step by step. So the first thing I'm going to do is open Design Space on my computer and start with a new blank canvas. Okay, I'm just going to take the percentage down to about 75% to give me a bit more of a working area. So the first thing I'm going to do is come over to the text icon and select it. And with the capital locks on my keyboard, I'm going to type the word thank. And then with it still there and selected and highlighted, I'm going to come up to the fonts. I'm going to come to System Fonts and I'm just going to choose Impact, which is a fairly standard font I think that anybody has on their computer. I'm just going to drag it out a little bit, but I'm going to resize it in a minute. But just for now, while it's selected, I'm going to come here to the letter spacing and I'm going to click on the downward arrow a few times just to bring the letters in a bit closer. They don't have to be completely touching, but I want them fairly close. Now I'm going to come back to the text icon, so I get another text box, and again with the capital lock still on my keyboard, I'm going to type U. And then this time I'm going to come over to System Fonts and I want a font called Mad Font. So I'm going to start to type Mad Font and it should bring it up, and here it is. And I'm going to choose that. And again, I'm just going to bring it in a little bit so I can see it. With the letter spacing, I'm going to hit the downward arrow a couple of times just to bring the letters a bit closer. Then I'm just going to position that underneath, and with the padlock still locked on the word U, I'm just going to drag out this arrow and just make it a little bit bigger so it's kind of in proportion, maybe not quite as big. When I think I've got how I want it to look, I'm going to drag an imaginary box around everything, and by that I mean I'm just going to left click above the word and while holding the mouse down drag out, and you'll see like a blue box, and when you let go that just bounds to both the words that are selected. And with these two now selected, I'm going to come up here to where it says size, width and height, and the padlock is locked, so whatever I put in the width, it will alter the height in proportion. So I'm going to just highlight the size that's there now and type 4.0 and press enter on my keyboard, and that's now made this group of two words 4 inches wide, and you can see it's about just under 2.5 inches high. Now for now that will probably do. So what I'm going to do while this is all selected, I'm going to come over to here to where on the layers tab and click group and just make it a group. So now you'll see highlighted in dark grey I've got a Y, which is the first letter of this word, U, and I've got a T, the first letter of this word, thank. So I'm just going to click on the grey circle next to the Y and I'm going to change it to orange, and that's changed the whole word. And I'm going to select the circle against the T and again make it that same mango colour, and then just click anywhere on the page to deselect. So now with this word selected, I'm going to duplicate it. You can either right click and hit duplicate, or you can come over here and hit duplicate. It doesn't really matter, just as long as you get a duplicate. Now, under the layers tab, you'll see I've got a Y and a T and a Y and a T. And this set here are in a darker grey than these, and that means that they're the ones that are selected. So that's this has got the bounding box around it all selected. So I'm going to change these to black just so that I can see the difference between the two words. So again, I'm going to click on the colour swatch, just hit black, and click on this colour swatch and hit black, and then click anywhere on the page to deselect. So I've got two groups of words that are identical in size one in orange, one in black. Okay, now this is where it just gets a little bit more, where you have to think a little bit more about it. If I select this, you'll see these have both got scissors next to them in the orange colour here, so they're cuts. And if I select the black, you'll see they're the same, they've both got scissors. But I'm going to change the black ones to a print. So I'm going to click on the black dot and say print, and then I'm going to click on the black dot against the T for the thank and change that to print, and just click anywhere on the page to deselect. So these now are both set as print. I want to select them both and I want to attach them. So now when I go to make it, it's brought my thank you onto a print mat exactly how it was on the design page, so with the word thank and you. If I didn't attach it, it would probably put the word thank there and the you here. It would fit it onto this page how it thinks it's going to get the best use out of the paper, but I want it to look like this. And you can see here it says it's a print and cut, and then this one is my words that are going to be cut independently and stuck on separately as a cut. But it's this print and cut I want to go back to now. So while I'm on this print and cut thank you in black, I'm going to go to continue. And then you should get, I work on a Mac and this is how mine looks. You should get something that looks similar to this, or you might have a dialog box that's already a print dialog box if you're using Windows. But whichever way, you want to click on send to printer and then you'll get this. And you need to make sure that bleed is chosen here in green. If yours looks like that in grey, you want to select it so it's green. You'll see the difference. When I take it off, it goes back to how it looks on the mat. When I add the bleed, it makes it bigger, and that's what we want. Once I've got this selected, I'm going to right click and hit Save Image As. Now, I want to save it as a PNG, and that's what my default is. Now, yours might come up with a JPEG or a GIF or a TIFF or something like that here. But what you want to do, you want to name it. So I'm just going to highlight everything. I don't need to. I could just overtype the word unknown, but just in case yours looks slightly different, I'm going to highlight everything. I'm going to change it to thankyou.png, and I'm going to save it on my desktop so I know where it is and hit save. And that's now put this thank you PNG on my desktop. Now I'm going to close this down because I'm not actually going to print it. Then I'm going to click cancel, and I'm going to say yes, I definitely want to cancel because I want to go back to the main canvas screen. So now I'm going to come to upload. I'm going to come to upload image. I'm going to drag or browse and find the thank you PNG I've just saved on my desktop and bring it in, and it's going to show me a preview with the bleed and the print bounding box around it. I'm going to say simple and click continue. Now I'm going to choose the magic wand icon up here in the top left, and then you'll see that this cursor will turn to a plus sign as I get near this design. And where that plus sign is, I'm going to click on that print line to get rid of it, because I only want these words that have been inflated, if you like, with the bleed effect. And I'm going to say continue. Now I don't want the print and cut, I want this second one on the right, the cut image. So I'm going to select that and click save. And it's put it here into my projects. So now I'm going to select it and insert it onto my canvas. Now it's going to come in tiny, but don't worry about that. So these two are both the same size. If I select this one, you'll see it's 4 by 2.376, and so is this. I only used this to make what is going to become my shaped matting layer for the card. So I can actually get rid of that now because I don't need it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to select this. This is 4 inches wide. So I'm going to select this, and because the padlock's locked, if I change the width to 4.25, that will, in a minute, when I hit enter on the keyboard, make this 1/4 of an inch bigger than this. So I'm just going to hit enter. And that's my matting layer. And if I drag this over and just right click and bring it to the front, you'll see that that nests on top of there. But I'm not going to leave it there. I'm going to just do something a little bit extra to it. So the first thing I'm going to do now is come to the shapes. Select a square. I'll just change the colour just to make it easier to see on the screen. I'm going to position this square over the widest point of the word, unlock the padlock on it and just drag it out and shrink it down a bit. I'm going to make it just over 1 inch high and a bit wider than the word. So you can see if I hover over it, it's wider. I'm going to drag it down here so it overlaps the bottom of this word YOU, just a bit, only a little bit. Select everything and come to align and centre horizontally. And that puts these words now directly in the middle of this red box. With both of these selected, I'm going to hit weld. And I'll just change that to white to make it a little bit easier for you to see. So this is the front of my base card, and now we need a back. So I'm going to select it, hit duplicate, there's my duplicate. I'm going to come up here to the top to flip and flip vertical. Now I'm going to bring it in and line it up just so it just overlaps ever so slightly. Drag an imaginary box around these two and go to align, centre. So they centre themselves to each other and they are slightly overlapped. And now I'm going to go weld. And you can see now that that's all welded. And this will be your fold line here. You can either score this yourself on a scoreboard or fold it and use a bone folder, or you can add in a fold line. It's entirely up to you. If you want to add a fold line for your machine to put the fold in for you, you come to shapes, choose your score line, wait till your score line comes in on your mat here. With your score line selected, hold the shift key down on your keyboard and grab this circle, and it will bring your line round in increments and keep it perfectly straight. Then you can drag it out to make it bigger, place it on your card, select both, come over here to align and use centre, and basically it will centre the line centrally to the shape and then put it directly in the middle. Okay, with those both selected, hit attach. If you don't, when you send it to the mat, the dash line will be separate. So that is now your shaped card. This will cut, this will score for you if you've got the scoring tool, or don't put it in if you don't want it. And these are your words that you can cut out in coloured card or whatever you want, and they will then, I'll just right click and bring it to the front, they will line up on top of your shaped card. And if they're slightly off, what you can do is just drag this out ever so slightly and this should fit perfectly. So when you go to make it now, you've got two mats. You've got your card with your score line, and it says there cut and score, and you've got your mat with all your letters ready to cut. I'm just going to cancel that because I'm not going to cut it. Obviously, if you want to save it, just come up here and click save, give it a name, call it whatever you want, thank you card. and hit save, and it'll save it into your projects. And it tells you that the project is saved. And then if you want to go back to your projects and have a look, you'll see it's there. I've already got one saved because I've made one as a test, and I also did a New Year's one. But just go back to this one. Just one thing you might want to look at. I'm going to say customise rather than make it, so I'm going to bring it back onto the map. Now, you might not want all these little pieces here cutting. You might just want the basic shape with the middles of, say, you know, the O and the U. So with this selected, if you hit detach, so you're detaching the score line from the card, you'll then bring up this contour option, and you can either hide all contours and then close it down, and that is what will cut, and obviously that will score when you reattach, and that can go on the front like that. Or you can go back to the card and contour. You can choose show all contours again, and you can just take out the bits that you don't want. So you may want these big pieces keeping within the O and the U, but you might not want these. So if you just click on them, and you can zoom in or out, or you can scroll up or down here. You might want to leave these bigger ones around to define the O and the U in the middle. Then when you close it down, drag an imaginary box around both again and attach, so that you're attaching your score line, and go to make it, and that's how it will cut. It's taken all those little bits away, but it's left the definition for the Y, the O and the U for you. So I hope you found that helpful. Please give the video a thumbs up if you liked it. Don't forget to subscribe if you don't already do so, and I'll see you in the next Cricut video. Thank you.